Amaka, the finest NYSC Corper, attracts every male teacher, until their desire turns dark. What they did will shock you. Watch till end. The sun beat down on the dusty grounds of Unity Comprehensive Secondary School in Oyo State as the morning assembly came to a close. The students shuffled back to their classrooms, murmuring excitedly among themselves. It wasn't just about the new school term, it was the talk of the new Corper that had just been posted to their school. Her name was Amaka. Tall, light-skinned with curves that seemed to defy every NYSC khaki regulation, Amaka walked like someone who knew the effect she had on people. From the moment she stepped into the school premises, the entire place felt like it had shifted on its axis. The male teachers, old and young, suddenly found renewed interest in attending staff meetings. Mr. Sei, the literature teacher, who never used to show up before 10 a.m., was now among the first to arrive. He had started dressing sharper too, abandoning his usual oversized shirts for tighter-fitted ankara with a dash of cologne. Just making a better impression, he told anyone who asked. Then there was Mr. Idris, the bald, married vice principal who insisted on supervising Amaka's registration. He spent hours explaining the school's structure, offering to get her cold drinks from the staff room fridge, and even volunteered to help her look for accommodation. She shouldn't be staying in that old Corpus lodge, he told the principal. Not safe at all. I can find her a self-contained near my house. It's better. Even Mr. Collins, the reserved biology teacher with thick glasses and a reputation for ignoring female staff, suddenly started peeping into the staff room whenever Amaka was around. He'd stutter through random questions, pretending to need help with his phone or looking for a biro he never had. Amaka wasn't blind to the attention. She had seen it before, on campus, during her clearance, even from the soldiers at the NYSC camp in Ogun. But this was different. Here, she was in their territory, their daily fantasy. She kept her replies brief, her smiles polite, but never inviting. Until one day, after school, Mr. Sei approached her with a cold malt and a folded sheet of paper. Just a small poem I wrote, he said with a sheepish grin. Inspired by you. Amaka took the drink, smiled, and accepted the paper. She didn't open it until he left. The poem was awful, full of cliché metaphors and badly rhymed verses about fire, desire, and your hips like heaven's gift. She laughed, shook her head, and slid the note into her bag. Later that week, Mr. Idris called her into his office under the pretense of assigning her a timetable. But the door was locked behind her. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes scanning her slowly. Corper Amaka, he began, you're a fine girl. You know you don't have to stress yourself teaching JS2 students, ABI. I can make your stay here very comfortable. Amaka crossed her arms. How exactly? He smiled. Anything you want. Extra allowance. Better apartment. Even exemption from weekend duties. All I ask is, let's understand ourselves. She stared at him for a moment, then reached into her bag, pulled out her phone, and started recording. Sir, can you repeat that? Mr. Idris blinked. Wait, are you recording me? She ended the recording, stood up, and walked out without another word. The next day, rumors started flying. No one knew exactly what happened, but Mr. Idris suddenly became quieter around her. He no longer hovered, and his daily trips to the staff room reduced to a minimum. Amaka knew she had made a statement. But it didn't stop the others. Mr. Collins began leaving snacks on her desk. Gala, plantain chips, and once, even a new Android charger in case her own spoils. One day, after a long double period with SS1 students, Amaka walked into the staff room to find a note waiting for her. This one wasn't anonymous. It was signed clearly, Mr. Collins. Please, just one dinner. Nothing serious. I respect you, but I can't help how I feel. She sat down, took a breath, and stared at the note, wondering if this was just the beginning. She crumpled the note gently and slid it into her bag, the same way she had done with Mr. Sei's poem. Amaka had only been at the school for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and already she had counted at least 6 different male teachers trying to maneuver their way into her space. Some were subtle. Some were bold. And then there was Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson was the school's ICT teacher. Early 40s, divorced, and driving a silver Toyota Camry with tinted windows. He was the kind of man who wore expensive wristwatches and always had a Bluetooth earpiece clipped to one ear, even when it wasn't on. One Friday afternoon, after staff meeting, he approached her as she waited under the mango tree outside the school gate, holding her file and umbrella. "Corper Amaka," he said, with that slick, confident smile, "you need a ride?" "I'm good, sir." "I'll get a bike," she replied, trying to stay polite. "Bike co. With this your fine skin," he laughed, eyeing her from head to toe. "You no suppose dey stress yourself like that. Enter make I drop you." She sighed, glanced at the road, no bikes in sight, and reluctantly got in. It was the first time she accepted a ride from anyone in the school. He didn't talk much on the way, just kept glancing at her legs through the corner of his shades. When they got to her lodge, he turned off the ignition but didn't unlock the doors. "You know say, ever since you enter this school, everywhere dawn bright. I know day lie you. I just day look you like person way God send come this life to torment men." She didn't laugh. "I hope you're not expecting anything because of this ride," she said, coolly. Mr. Thompson leaned closer, his voice dropping. "Corper Amaka, we're both adults. You don't have to pretend. I can take care of you. Monthly allowance. New phone. Even get someone to redeploy you back to Lagos when you tire of this bush." She looked at him, expression flat. "So this is what you offer every young corper that enters this school?" He smirked, undisturbed. "No be every corper. Just the ones worth it." Amaka unlocked the door herself and stepped out. "I'm not your type, Mr. Thompson," she said, without looking back. "And even if I was, I'd rather take a bike and fall into gutter than enter your car again." The door slammed. Word spread quickly again. That was the thing about small towns and secondary school staff rooms, everyone had ears. And by Monday, most of the male teachers had resumed pretending like they hadn't tried anything at all. Except one. Daniel. He was young. NYSC class of the previous year, but had gotten retained as a full-time civic education teacher. Unlike the others, Daniel never stared too long, never hovered. In fact, he barely spoke to her. But Amaka had caught him once, at the back of the library, watching her as she arranged test scripts on a table. Their eyes met, and he looked away quickly. She found it refreshing. So when she needed help with typing her lesson notes for a competition NYSC was organizing, she hesitated briefly, then walked up to Daniel's desk after school. "Can I ask you for a favor?" He looked up, surprised. "Sure. Anything. Can you help me type and format something? I'm really tired and my laptop has been acting up." "No wahala," he said, standing. "We can do it in the library. There's less noise." They walked in silence. For the first time since she arrived, Amaka felt a moment that didn't feel like a setup. Inside the library, while Daniel typed, Amaka watched his fingers dance over the keyboard, smooth and focused. At one point, he asked, "Why me? You could have asked Mr. Thompson. He has a full desktop in his office." She chuckled. "Because I trust you not to try and seduce me with malt, poems, or redeployment offers." Daniel laughed, and the sound was genuine. "You've been through a lot in a short time, haven't you?" he said. She nodded. "More than you'd expect." There was a short pause. And then, Daniel said, "Not every man in that staff room is trying to have a taste of you. Some of us just want to know you." Amaka looked at him closely. For once, she didn't feel like someone was undressing her with their eyes. She felt seen. And that scared her more than anything else. The rest of the week passed quietly. The awkward tension in the staff room had lessened. Mr. Idris now avoided eye contact. Mr. Say stuck to his desk like paper to glue. Even Mr. Thompson, the king of confidence, walked past her in the corridor with his mouth clamped shut and his Bluetooth earpiece turned off. But Amaka hadn't forgotten the library moment. It lingered with her. The way Daniel said, "Some of us just want to know you." It was the first time someone at that school had spoken to her like a human being, not a walking temptation. She started noticing him more, how he handled his students with calm authority, how he greeted the older staff with respect but didn't let them talk down to him. He didn't try to impress. He just existed with confidence. One afternoon, it was Amaka's turn to supervise prep. The students were scattered, pretending to read. She was sweating under the heat of the Oyo sun, fanning herself with a lesson plan when Daniel walked in, carrying a sachet of chilled water. "Thought you might need this," he said. She took it with a grateful smile. "Thank you. You don't look like you're enjoying this prep duty." "I'm not," she said, laughing. "I feel like I'm being punished." Daniel leaned against the chalkboard. "Welcome to the world of temporary teachers. We suffer, but we smile." She looked at him. "Are you always this chill?" He shrugged. "When you've spent a year as a corper in a village without power or network, you learn to be chill." She nodded slowly, biting her lip in thought. "Wanna hang out this weekend?" "Just to relax." Daniel raised a brow. "Like a date?" Amaka smiled playfully. "Don't let it get to your head. Let's start with a hangout first." That weekend, they met at a small buka near the junction, quiet, far from the curious eyes of teachers or students. They ate umla and bigairai, drank soft drinks, and talked for hours about everything from university struggles to NYSC camp drama. Amaka opened up about the pressure of being beautiful in a space where people only saw her body and not her brains. Daniel listened without interrupting, nodding at the right moments, letting her speak. "You know," she said softly, "for the first time since I got posted here, I actually feel normal. Like I'm not being watched, hunted, or dissected." Daniel looked at her gently. "That's how you're supposed to feel." She smiled, then looked away. But he caught the slight blush on her cheeks. From that weekend on, things changed, but quietly. They didn't hold hands in school. They didn't pass notes or exchange glances during meetings. But there was an energy between them. An understanding. One that Mr. Sei noticed during a break period when he saw Daniel lean over to whisper something to Amaka, and she laughed, genuinely, with her head tilted back, her eyes soft. Sei frowned. Later that day, he cornered Daniel near the staff room sink. "So now you day run the Corper now, ABI?" Daniel raised a brow. "Sorry. You think say we no day look? You day play the long game, but we go see who she go choose." Daniel wiped his hands calmly and looked at Sei squarely. "You've tried poems. Idris tried pressure. Thompson tried money. None of you worked. Maybe, just maybe, she's tired of games." With that, he walked off, leaving Sei burning in silence. But not everyone was willing to let go. One evening, as Amaka returned to her lodge, she noticed something strange. Her door was slightly ajar. Her curtain, usually drawn halfway, was pulled back. Cautiously, she stepped inside. Her gas cylinder had been tampered with. Her clothes were scattered on the floor. A note lay on her bed. No name. Just words scribbled in rushed handwriting. "Stay humble. You're not better than anyone here. We can make your stay hell." Her hands trembled slightly as she read it. But she didn't cry. She took a picture of it, locked her door, and called Daniel. When he arrived, he didn't ask many questions. He just held her hand and sat with her in silence. That night, Daniel didn't leave until she had calmed down. He helped her put her clothes back in place, checked the gas cylinder thoroughly, and secured the door with an extra nail and padlock from the nearby store. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. Before he left, he said, "If anything happens again, tell me." Immediately. Amaka nodded, still shaken. "Thank you. You shouldn't be going through all this just to serve your country," he muttered, more to himself than her. The next day at school, she kept her head up. She didn't flinch. She didn't show weakness. But she was watching. Someone had been in her space. Someone was angry that she hadn't played along. And she had a very short list of suspects. At break time, she went straight to the principal's office with the note and the photo of her ransacked room. The principal, a round-faced man with tired eyes and a permanent sweat line across his shirt, frowned as he read it. "This is serious, Corper Amaka. Very serious. I want it investigated," she said firmly. "And I want it known, if anything else happens to me, I won't just report to NYSC. I'll go straight to the press." The principal wiped his forehead. Let's not escalate yet. Please. Let me speak to a few people. Later that day, a brief, security reminder was given to staff during the afternoon meeting, stressing the importance of respecting personal space and protecting the dignity of the NYSC program. No names were mentioned. No fingers were pointed. But I shifted. Mr. Thompson didn't show up to the meeting. Mr. Idris kept clearing his throat. And Say didn't speak a word. That evening, Daniel walked her home again. I don't think it's over, she said as they approached her gate. It's not, he replied. But you've got eyes now. And a voice. That scares them more than rejection. She stopped walking, turned to him. I'm tired, Daniel. Every day, I have to remind them that I'm not a toy. That my body isn't an invitation. He looked at her, eyes soft. You don't have to fight alone. Something about the way he said it made her chest tighten. She looked up at him, lips slightly parted, unsure of what to say next. But he stepped closer, gently brushing a stray braid from her cheek. And just like that, the silence between them shifted. Amaka didn't move away. Their kiss was slow, unsure at first, like two people finally allowing themselves to stop pretending. But then it deepened, and she leaned into him, her fingers gripping the fabric of his shirt. When they pulled away, breathless, he smiled. I've wanted to do that since the library, he said. I know, she whispered. Me too. She watched him walk away that night, her fingers brushing her lips. She hadn't expected to find this realness, safety, connection, in the middle of a rural PPA posting. But the next day would bring more than just emotions. It started during first period, when Mr. Thompson's car pulled into the school compound and came to a screeching halt. He stormed into the staff room with a tight jaw, looking straight at Amaka. She didn't flinch. He dropped a brown envelope on the table and announced loudly, since people think they can ruin my name with lies, let me free myself. I'm resigning from the PTA support committee. Let the school run itself. Then he stormed back out, muttering something about snakes in skirts. The rest of the staff sat in stunned silence. After school, Daniel walked her to the mango tree gate like he usually did. She looked at him, half laughing. Did I just make a grown man resign with silence? You didn't need to raise your voice, he said. You just stopped playing their game. She liked that. But unknown to them both, Say had been watching from a distance, eyes narrowed, jaw tight. And that night, he sent a message to an old contact. I need a favor. Small one. This girl day cause wahala. She too feel important. The next few days passed with an uneasy calm. Amaka moved carefully, more guarded, more alert. But despite it all, she was still herself, graceful, focused, unintimidated. Her bond with Daniel grew stronger. They shared lunch, traded books, and sometimes, in the quiet moments before prep or after school, they talked about what would come after NYSC, life beyond dusty classrooms and side glances. But Say's message was already in motion. One evening, on her way home, a man she didn't recognize began following her from the main road. She noticed him cross to her side of the street, slow down when she slowed, and quicken his steps when she did. Her heart raced. She clutched her bag tighter and ducked into a narrow street. He followed. Just before she turned the last corner to her compound, she heard him call out. Fine Corper, wait nah. I want talk to you. She didn't wait. She ran. The men didn't chase. But that was enough. Enough to shake her. Enough to snap something in her. The next morning, she went to the NYSC office and filed an official report. She included everything, Mr. Idris' proposal, Mr. Thompson's offer, the break-in, the anonymous threat, and now the stalking. She submitted the photos, the audio recording, and her written statement. She didn't name every teacher directly, but she gave just enough for them to connect the dots. And then she did something else. She wrote a blog post. It was titled, Serving in Silence, a Female Corper's Diary in a Nigerian Secondary School. She didn't name the school. She didn't name the teachers. But her descriptions were vivid, and her words rang with raw truth, about being objectified, disrespected, and underestimated. About standing her ground. About finding one person who reminded her that real respect still existed. The post went viral in 3 days. Nigerian Twitter caught fire. Instagram blogs reposted screenshots. NYSC's official handle commented, "This is unacceptable. We are investigating." By the following week, 2 education supervisors visited the school without warning. They questioned the staff, pulled files, interviewed the principal and vice principal. Word reached the state NYSC coordinator. Suddenly, things changed. Mr. Idris was transferred to another school pending investigation. Mr. Thompson submitted a formal apology to the LG office. Mr. Say was suspended indefinitely after messages traced to his number matched the threat note in her lodge. Amaka was offered a redeployment to any school of her choice. But she declined. "I'll finish what I started," she told Daniel. "I came here to serve. I'll leave on my terms, not theirs." Her final term was peaceful. No more creepy notes. No more stares. Some teachers even started treating her with the respect they had withheld, though not from sincerity, but from Faye. She and Daniel grew closer. On the last day of service, when they stood at the PPA gate in their white and green NYSC kits, she leaned into him and whispered, "Thank you for not being like them." He smiled. "Thank you for seeing me." They promised to stay in touch. And they did. Months later, her blog grew into a platform, a space where other young women serving across the country could share their stories safely. It gained support from NGOs, women's rights advocates, and even a small NYSC partnership. She called it Corper Voices. As for Amaka, she didn't just survive her NYSC year. She owned it. We have gotten to the end of the story. Kindly like, subscribe and comment your opinion, and I will appreciate your time.